together again, and I'm so excited. And we're going to finish reading our book, Jack's Garden. We talked about a lot of things yesterday, so let's review just for a second. Does anybody remember? I just said it, but what is the title of our book? The title of our book is right here. Do you remember? That's right, it's about Jack. But what about Jack? That's right, Jack's Garden. The title of our book is Jack's Garden. Does anybody remember, what does the author do in the story? What does the author do? That's right, the author writes the story. And what does the illustrator do? And the illustrator draws the pictures or paints the pictures. He gives us the pictures, or they give us the pictures. And the author and illustrator of our book, Jack's Garden, is Henry Cole. So, does anybody remember who is the character in our story, Jack's Garden? That's right, Jack. And what was Jack doing? We got to meet Jack yesterday. Jack was doing lots of fun things. Let's see. Jack wanted to make a garden, and we found out that this is his garden, and that this was the soil in the garden. And we said that the soil was a very busy place because we see worms and things. And then what did Jack do? That's right. He was outside in his garden and he was planting seeds, all different kinds of seeds. And then it rained. And we've been talking a lot about the rain because we're seeing a lot of rainy days in the forecast. And we talked about how the season has changed from winter into spring. And it tends to rain a lot in the spring. It's good for our gardens. Oh, look at Jack's garden. It's sprouting. We read about that yesterday. And then the sprouts grew. Look how big they've gotten. Oh my goodness. And now we're going to start reading again. This is where we stopped yesterday. Let's see what's happening in Jack's garden now. These are the buds that formed on the plants, that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds that fell in the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. Oh, they have buds now. They sprouted, they grew in the plants, and they have buds. And look at all the different kinds of beetles. They're hanging around in Jack's garden. I think all of these plants make it a friendly place for them. These are the flowers that blossom from the buds, that formed on the plants, that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds, that fell on the soil, that made up the garden that Jack planted. Oh, do you guys see this beauty? Black-eyed Susans. Oh, wild geraniums. Oh my goodness, I love this. This is a beautiful garden. What kinds of things would you plant in your garden? Something to think about. Oh. These are the insects that sipped nectar from the flowers, that blossomed from the buds, that formed on the plants, that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds that fell on the soil, that made up the garden that Jack planted. Wow. Boys and girls, do you see? There are different kinds of butterflies, and I see a longhorn beetle. Wow, lots of things come to visit the garden after a while. After the blossoms, after the flowers. And look, even the birds are coming. These are the birds that chase the insects, that sip nectar from the flowers, that blossom from the buds, that formed on the plants, that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds that fell in the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. I see lots of birds, and they even show us some of the birds' eggs, right? Because birds hatch from eggs. It's springtime. Oh, look at this. And this is the garden that Jack planted. Do you guys see Jack? He looks very happy and satisfied about this garden. He's done a tremendous job. What kind of garden can we plant? Did you enjoy that story? I enjoyed reading it with you. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about our garden and what kind of materials we need to make our garden. Until next time, bye-bye.